Welcome in. Today we are in the What Would You Make playlist. We're going to get started with DIY number 1. I cut out this bear shape on my scroll saw and we are going to paint the whole thing with white Waverly chalk paint. I also have the little paws, the snout, and the nose cut. We're going to do all in white except for the nose. It will be in black. And then on the little paws, we will put the little pads in black as well. Once we get everything nice and dry, we're going to take some black paint and go around that snout and those little paws so they stand out a little bit. I'm just using a dry brush and going around the edges of the paws. I'm placing my snout and nose where I want it, and then I'm taking this Sharpie creative marker and just drawing 2 little oval shapes up at the top above the snout to where I want my eyes to be. Then I am gluing down all the pieces with some Dollar Tree wood glue and hot glue, and that way we'll have a permanent hold and a temporary hold or a quick hold with the hot glue. Now I'm using that same marker to draw on the pads of the little paws, and then I use some paint to darken it up a bit. We use the same glues to glue on the little paws, and then we use that marker again to draw a little line going down from the nose to the bottom of the snout, and then we'll touch up any areas we need to. Oh, and now we're gluing on the paws. So that Dollar Tree wood glue works great. If you haven't tried it yet, I definitely recommend it. It's the best wood glue I have found thus far. So now you want to make sure it's good and dry before you move on. And then you can add your little lines for your arms as if his hands are behind his feet. And I decided to add a little black inside the ears, even though polar bears don't have that. I just liked it, so I added those little black inside the ears. That's you do you, and you do it the way you want to, but you know, it doesn't have to be realistic. It's all in good fun. Now I'm taking a little Uniball gel pen, and I believe it's gel pen. Anyways, it's Uniball, and I'm making some little designs. I added a snowflake and made some designs on that. We also added a ribbon for a scarf and a little button and some greenery, and now I'm just adding some pink cheeks and using that same pen to make some little freckles on his cheeks. I did miss video in all the other parts, so I just explained it for you. Today's video is a part of What Would You Make, hosted by Rustic and Lace DIY, Divine Designs, and guest hosted by Lowly D's Creations. Check out the playlist in my description. Let's move on to DIY number 2. I just cut out this little half circle shape, and I'm going to paint the whole thing with this I think this is nautical blue. It's a very pretty blue. It dries darker than it goes on, and it looks navy to me. Once I get the whole thing done, I had this very soft fur, just a few scrap pieces of it, and I'm going to use that to add onto the bottom and make a little pom-pom as well. But first we're going to take some white paint in our palette knife, and we're going to go around the edges and just add a little bit of white around the edges just to outline and give a little bit of character. Kind of looks like there's snow on the hat. And then we're going to dry it really well before we put on our fur. Once we get our white paint dry, we're going to add our fur, and I'm just going to add a little snowflake on there as well. We're going to use some hot glue to add the fur. That should be good enough, no wood glue. And I'm going to then add the bottom piece, glue it on real good, and trim off the excess. I'm going to use that excess to create the pom-pom. So here I added some white paint to that snowflake. It's a metal snowflake, and we're just going to glue that right onto the fur and the wood part of the hat. I'm then going to grab that excess piece that I cut off from the bottom, and we're going to use our little makeup or face mask applicator, and we're going to just glue and roll and then use that applicator to push it down so we don't burn ourselves. And then we're just going to glue it right on the top of our little hat. And you have a super cute little shelf sitter, or you could put it on a tier tray just for the winter decor. Now we have DIY number 3. I have a scrap piece of wood that's kind of wonky that we're going to use today. We're going to use some antique white and some black chalk paint as well. And I have a printable that I created, and we are going to make a cute little sign to display for the winter season. So I'm starting with my black chalk paint, and we're going to cover the whole board with the black. Once we get that nice and dry, we're going to take out our chapstick and go around the edges and just a little bit on the inside. I'm not really sure at this point if this will show up, but I wanted to give it a try and see if it would show through the printable. The printable is printed on some rice paper, so I was hoping so. So now that I've got that on there, we're going to cover the whole thing in the antique white. Then once it's dry, we'll just take a paper towel and wipe right over it where the Vaseline was put, the chapstick. It will wipe right off. This is a beautiful effect for a background and very easy to do, very less mess than scraping and all of that. Now I'm taking out my printable that I printed on my inkjet printer onto some rice paper that I got from Amazon, and I am going to use Mod Podge to attach it to my board. I'm going to line it up really well. I've already got my Mod Podge on there, and press, make sure all of the wrinkles and bubbles are out. Give it a good press before I sand it off. Once I got it on here, I realized that the chippy effect really didn't show through as much as I wanted to, so I do end up going around it with some black paint just to frame it in a little bit. We'll see this in the final reveal. Now I have some ice skate shapes that were in my boo-boo pile because I messed up on one side of them, so I decided I would do these and make them a little bit different than the ones I did before. So I'm starting out with painting them black. This is going to be my undercoat, and we are going to do the chippy effect on these, and then once I do that I decide I don't like it, so I end up painting over it and kind of sanding it back a little bit, and I liked that much better. When I did the chippy on these, it just seemed to be too much for the skates and not really the look I was going for. So that is one thing I like to say when you're painting. You can always go back and fix it, or, you know, sand it down and redo it. There's nothing that you can't fix, and just don't give up. Here I am adding that chapstick, and if I could do this again, I would have just done the outsides of it and then kind of sanded the insides. But, you know, trial and error, and this is why I do things for the first time, either live or on videos, so that I can do it and then you can learn from my mistakes. If you don't want a deep chippy on these, then don't do it this way. I do a lot of chippy because I just love the look of it. I do need to do some crackle on here and show you some different methods of that, but I'm just not a crackle kind of person. I know a lot of people love to do the crackle. It's just really not my thing. I do like a fine line crackle that looks more like an antique, and that would be pretty on these skates as well. This is the most satisfying part to me, when you can just wipe off that paint and you get that chippy look. Now, if you like this look, keep it like this and keep on moving. Like I said, I did not like this look on these skates, so I will paint over it. Here I am painting over the first coat. I thought I was going to leave it like this, and then I decided, nope, I still want to paint more, so I paint a whole nother layer over the top of this one. It's all about trial and error and getting it to where you want it, so don't be afraid, just keep going. While that layer dries, I decided I needed to paint the blades of the ice skate with white, and then that would be my base coat. When you're using metallics, you really need a base coat underneath, so you could do these in white or gray or anything like that before you put on your metallic paint. we're going to be using a Folk Art silver metallic on our blades, and that way they look more realistic. That's the look I'm going for. You can do whatever color you want to. Then taking my sander and going over these skates up top, and I really like the way that looks more than I did the really deep chippy. Now we are painting that metallic onto the blades, and we'll do both of these with the metallic paint. Next, I get my power tools out and I drill some holes for some laces. I'm going to use some jute twine to lace mine. You could use any ribbon or lacing you want to. You could even use regular shoelaces to make it look more realistic. I wanted some laces with jute twine. That's just my style. So I do this for both, and then I lace it up with the twine. I think it turned out really cute. I just finish it off with a little tie off like you would tie your shoes, just a regular old shoestring tie. Cut off the excess hanging down. I do end up adding some pom-poms to the end of that, but right now I am doing the heel of the shoe in the black chalk paint, and then right at the sole of the shoe I'll do a line all the way around there too. Then I'm taking a little bit of fur and gluing it to the top of each of the skates just to give it a cute little wintry feel. I really think this took it to the next level, and it is adorable, and you'll see it in the final reveal. I'm Mary, and this is the Painted Peach, and I want to take the time to say thank you for joining me. I hope that you'll subscribe and like and share, and here's the final reveal. Here's our cute little polar bear and our hat, and here is our skates and our ice skating sign. Thanks for watching today. Check out the playlist, and as always, stay peachy.